Hi guys, something a little bit different today. We're in a different location at the moment. We're at the back of the car, but just over that way, just down there, is the Broadwater. And what I'm going to do today is I've got two brand new reels here. They are brand new, still got the paper on them. You can turning, not a problem in the world, not noisy, crunchy. They are brand new. What I am going to do is walk over there and throw them in the water. And the reason why I'm doing this is to show you guys, once you dunk a reel, a lot of people go home, give it a quick hose and spray, put it away, and it still doesn't work, or it's grindy. I'm going to show you how you can actually get away with it. So if you dunk your reel, there is one step at home you can do, and I'll explain more about that after we go throw them in the water. And we're going to leave them in the water for a few minutes just to make sure they're well and truly wet and soaked all the way through. Anyway, let's go over the water and throw them in. Right guys, I've got the two reels here. We're at the Gold Coast Broadwater. See? Now, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to throw two brand new reels into the water. Right, down there. Now what we're going to do is give them a few minutes to really soak up the salt water and sand and everything else. Hey guys, the reels have been sitting down there for a few minutes, so they're well and truly waterlogged. So let's go get them out. We'll take them home. Then I'll explain a bit about what's happened and what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. Okay, so there you go. Look at that, well and truly waterlogged. Alright guys, back home, still got me good old reels in the bucket. So what we're going to do now is show you something. This one here I've got in my hand. It's going to be the good old should be right. I'm going to say this one's going to be the should be right mate reel. So I'm basically just going to do what most people do. They go home, they get the hose. Okay, we've got the hose there. Just going to give her a bit of a damp, a bit of a wash like so. There you go. Give her a shake. What we're going to do is we're going to come in here, put on the rag, and you know, should be right mate, should be good in a couple of weeks I reckon. I'm even going to go a bit over the top, and we got the WD, we'll put a bit on the roller bearing there, a bit on the handle, like so. There we go. And that's the should be right mate one. Now with the other one, I'm going to show you, is in the bucket here. It is still sitting. What I'm going to do is fill this one up full of fresh water. First we'll get out of the sand at the bottom of it. Put our reel back in. Now it's going to fill it up. Like so. Okay. That one is fully submerged in fresh water. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put that one there. What I'm going to do guys, we've got the should be right mate up sitting up there. We've got the one in fresh water, which took a couple of minutes to fill up. And what we're going to do now is just we're going to wait for 2 weeks. So this reel's not going to leave water for 2 weeks. I'm not going to touch that one up there for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks time guys, I'm going to come back, I'm going to open both these reels up and show you something. Okay. So a lot of guys, like I said, just should be right mate, throw it, give it a quick wash out in the shed, it should be fine. I can tell you in 2 weeks, it's not going to be fine. This one on the other hand here, well, the reason I'd strand it in fresh water, first of all it dilutes the salt water that's in it. Second of all, it stops the corrosion and the rust and everything else. So if you don't know how to fix reels yourself, leave them in fresh water, fully submerged, until you can find somebody, a friend or a reel repair or somebody who can fix the reel. And when you find somebody, take the reel to them. They'll be able to strip it down part by part, re-grease it, re-oil it, put it back together, even though it's been fully submerged, and the reel will be fine, okay? So if you just do this one trick, submerge them in fresh water until you find somebody who can actually properly clean it. I'm not talking about giving it a spray with WD, take the side plate off, give it a spray like I've seen some guys. That doesn't work. Your reel's still going to rust and corrode over time. It might slow it down, but it's still going to rust. This reel will be fine, even though it's been fully submerged for about 4 minutes in salt water, as you saw. That reel had a quick wash and a quick spray of WD-40. We'll see what happens to it in 2 weeks, guys. I'll see you back here on Tuesday the 13th, because today is the 31st, so 2 weeks today. Okay? We'll see you then. Bye. Hey guys. Well, it's pretty much 2 weeks, not quite. Tomorrow's Tuesday, but I won't have time to do this tomorrow, so today's Monday. It's 1 day short of 2 weeks. Got the 2 reels here, still one in a bucket of fresh water here, and this one. I just turned the handle. I was surprised I can still turn it, but it doesn't feel real good. So anyway, what we're going to do is just open these 2 reels up and show you what happens after a bit of salt water. This was washed roughly and sprayed, and still turns, but it is a little stiff. It is starting to get a bit, corroded and grindy. You could use it if you really want to, but it's not something I would use. I prefer my gear running smoothly. Anyway, it's only been, 13 days. So we'll open up and we'll have a look-see. I'm not going to be repairing them today, putting them back together, cleaning them out. That one I'll clean out later, but I'm not going to do it on camera, guys. I'm just going to open it up and show you out in the air. Like I said, this is not quite 2 weeks. So far that's not too bad, but we'll get in there and then we'll have a look. And the other one in the water, okay, so sitting in there, one sitting in water. And don't forget, it's only just started corroding and rusting slowly, so it won't be too bad at the moment, but the longer you leave it, the worse it will get. I'll just take all that out. Forgive me if I'm sort of rushing and everything else. We're in the middle of a heat wave here. I'm sitting in a shed. It's as hot as buggery down here. Oh, okay. Oh, that's all still works so far. That's a bit stiff. It is very hot. So find the right size screwdriver. Okay. This is the actual anti-reverse bearings, like it's a one-way bearing. Most reels nowadays have got them. They're about, I don't know, $35, $40 each to replace, depending on what type of reel it is. Okay. So far, surprisingly, it looks alright. It is stainless, but that's alright. We'll pull it apart and just give you an idea what's in there. Lots of little rollers and springs, okay? Doesn't look too bad though. Alright, let that fall apart. Yeah, bearings, yeah, she's grindy. Still got grease, and you feel the grease and oil on it. You can actually feel a bit of sand in there, some of my fingers now. That is grindy, so that's just going to start corroding. That's only going to get worse over time. So we definitely need a new bearing. The pinion gear is fine. Let's take the handle out. So far out of this, if you want this reel to work again properly, it should have been in water. Or if you want to fix it up as is, handle's turning, it's a little stiff, but it's turning. You'll definitely need a one-way bearing, because that's gonna get worse. That bearing's definitely gonna get worse. I am surprised. It's not as bad as I thought it would be after nearly 2 weeks. I thought it would be a bit worse than this. Maybe I shouldn't have washed it. Anyway, it just shows you a bit of fresh water. A bit of fresh water on this one's still okay. It's nothing I would use, but if you're desperate for a reel, you probably still use it. And the one in the bucket, the fresh water, should be a lot better. I'm just curious to see what the gears in here are like. There's that little one there somewhere. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble seeing black reel, lights in my face, it's dark, and my eyes are dodgy. What did I miss there? Come on, just slide off your bugger. That one's out, that one's out, that's out. Alright. There's a little screwdriver, just nudge that off. There we go. Let's go and break her open. Should be another. She should just break open, so okay. There's a bit of corrosion stuff in there. Yep. Okay, the bearings on the sides, it's seized, and it's seized onto the main gear, so that's the first problem you're going to have. And I'm going to guess it's seized on the other side as well. I'll get that out, that's all good. This stuff's actually, this is not bad, hasn't corroded at all, but they have greased up really well, so that's a good thing. Okay, so that bearing's shot and seized on. That one slipped off, but oh crap, it's just greased me fingers slipping. That one's seized, so I've got two bearings on the inside are seized, and that one's definitely seized onto the reel, onto the gearing. Okay, so with the metal they've used in these Shannons, it's actually quite good gear. The gearing's not too bad at all. The main problem with this, after 2 weeks, I'm quite surprised, guys. I actually thought it'd be a bit worse. So little gearing, the pinion gears, the slides, the screws, yeah, gears. All you're gonna need to fix this reel actually is bearings. But that's where you come unstuck with these things. Like these are Shannons, they're a $59 reel at the moment, $59, $50, whatever. They're not a cheap, not an expensive reel. So to replace these bearings, you go to Shimano to get these bearings. Shimano are going to cost you 20 bucks, 20 bucks, 20 bucks, and these things are about 35 for the roller bearings. It's going to cost you a lot more just to buy the bearings than the reel's actually worth. So with cheap reels, I would probably just, me personally, I'd throw it away, or do what I've done with that one, throw it in fresh water. Okay, we're going to pull that one apart now. That one's going to look similar to this, but I bet you the bearings and stuff are all working in it. It just needs to be dried out, re-greased, and be fine. I am rather impressed. The Shannon's actually got better gear in it than I thought. There are some other brands out there, I won't name the brands, but there are some other brands out there that do with the gearing and stuff. It's a lot cheaper, and by now it'd be corroded to buggery. Okay, some other brands out there. But this is little Shimano Shannon. It's cheap, but surprisingly it's not bad. You could still use it if you wanted to, but replacing all the bearings and stuff, it'd be just cheaper buying another reel. Now if we take this one out, I'm not worried about any of this, I'm not putting this back together. I'm not going to break the bearings apart and get them off. This one is actually still in a bucket of water. Well, that turns freely. So that one was quite stiff to turn, and reason being the bearings are shot. The bearings are gone. Gearing's okay, so if you want to replace the bearings, that's all good. This one, oh, sounds a little crunchy, that's from the sand. Give it a clean out, I bet you this one will be absolutely perfect. And dry it all out, dry the drag washers and stuff out of this thing. But just keep in mind, guys, no matter what the brand, what the reel, just if it drops in salt water, take an aim, definitely put it in a bucket of fresh water. It does slow the corrosion down, slows the rust, everything down. Okay, just put it in a bucket of fresh water until you can find somebody to pull it apart piece by piece and clean it. Come on, get off there. Just got a little bit of sand in there. See, that bearing there still spins freely. It's all freely. You just see a little bit of sand in it, so it needs a bit of a clean up, but this one will be absolutely fine. And the other one there you could use for parts. Like I said, the gearing is still good, and the slides and bits and pieces, and the body, it's all still good, surprisingly. So apart from the bearings, that one's alright, you could use it as parts. I just want to get this one apart, and I just want to check the bearings, see if they're actually seized onto the main gear like that one. These ones shouldn't be, but we'll see. Is it? Yeah, spinning freely, it's easy, it's good. But that one there too, since we didn't wash it, it's only been just shy of 2 weeks. The longer you leave that one, the worse it will get. But I am rather impressed actually after 2 weeks. I thought it would be a lot worse than that. So Shimano's, even the cheaper reels are made out of some pretty good gear. You could save yourself some money and go to just like a local bearing shop and get them. They're a lot cheaper than buying from Shimano or Dyer or Penn or anywhere else. Get them from a local shop. But that one-way bearing you can't. You'll have to get that from the dealers. And that will cost about 35 to 40 bucks. They're expensive little buggers. And maybe even dearer depending on the reel it's off. Come on, open up your bugger. Oh, good, I took all the screws out. See, that bit fell off. I'm going to take the one-way bearing off. Bugger. Didn't want to do that. Really didn't. But typically these little one-way bearings, if you don't want them to fall apart and have a look inside like that one, you can rebuild them. They're just, time consuming. You've got 3 the same size screws, and they've got one little one. That little one holds the bearing together. So you take out the three bigger ones, your bearing will come off. But it'll still, if you leave that one in there, the small one in there, that won't fall apart on you. Okay, there's a little tip. I wanted to have a look at that one, but it's a little noisy. It's got a little bit of sand and stuff in there, but that's alright, we can clean that. That'll be fine. Had to slip straight out like that, beautiful. That one's rolling, it's like brand new still. Hey, just leave them in a little bit of water, works wonders. See if we can get the main gearing apart. Okay, bearing come off. That's turning, like that, just comes straight off. It's nice and smooth. Get the slides out of here. Yeah, see this one after 2 weeks in water is absolutely beautiful. So there's no rust, corrosion. Even that one I was quite surprised about. That little bearing there, the main one, yep, quiet as, smooth as. Gearing looks good. Everything looks good. So, back to it. Okay, so if you drop your reels in water, once again, take them home, submerge them in fresh water. Simple as that. Just and leave them there. I don't care if it's there for a day. I don't care if it's there for 6 weeks. It'll stop your bearings and all the bits and pieces starting to rust, corrode. Other brands, cheaper brands, do rust and corrode a lot faster than this. I was rather impressed with that one. That's been 2 weeks for a little Sienna. And I've got to tell you, a lot of these gears, I can use a lot of these parts. Keep them for parts for this one, because there's nothing wrong with them. That doesn't... Once you break that bearing off there, which is seized on the shaft and it's broken, all that needs is bearings. And you put new bearings in that, it'll be fine. It will cost more than a reel's worth, unfortunately, but you can fix that reel, not a problem. But cheaper versions and other reels, other brands, after 2 weeks, they will corrode rather badly, depending what they're made out of. So no, just saying, whatever reel you've got, expensive, cheap, I don't care if it's Jarvis Walker or a Shimano Stella. If you drop it in the water and it's your pride and joy, or you can't afford another one, drop it in a bucket of fresh water. And then go look for somebody who can pull it apart for you and clean it. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's there for a day or 6 weeks, guys. The fresh water will stop the corrosion, stop the rust, stop everything. Like this one, looks similar to that one, but all the bearings in this one are still working. Nothing seized together or rusted. I can just give this a dry out. I'm going to dry this reel out. I'm going to re-grease it, put it back together. This will be like brand new. That one needs a full set of bearings, which will probably cost more than a reel once again. But all the parts are quite good. So it doesn't hurt to buy a little bit better quality gear either. Okay. So that's it, guys. By that, I'm actually rather impressed, because I have pulled apart reels when I was the reel repairer that have been dunked in salt water and then just put in a shed, and they're a lot worse off than that. I was rather impressed with that. For a little cheap Sienna, that's pretty good. And so bearings, that's all it needs. Everything else good. This one's perfect. It's just going to need, just been sitting in fresh water. It's just going to need me to clean it out, dry it out, re-grease it, and it's going to be back to a brand new reel. Not a problem in the world. Even the bearings will be fine, because all the salt water stuff's been diluted. Just needs a good clean out. That's it. So guys, if you drop it in salt water, don't panic. Put them in a bucket of fresh water. Leave it there until you can get somebody to look at it and clean it up for you. It's not the end of the world. Hope this video helps, and I'll see you next week. Thanks guys, bye.